Picture this, a time when women were denied their basic human rights and justice was a distant dream. This was the reality of the pre-Islamic era, a society where women's rights were not only overlooked but were often non-existent. Women were treated as mere commodities, their roles were limited, and their voices were silenced. They were subjected to harsh realities and societal norms that stripped them of their dignity and respect. The law of the land was not in their favor, and justice was like an elusive mirage, always out of reach. This was a world where women were not seen as equal contributors to society. They were denied basic rights, such as the right to inherit, the right to choose their own spouse, and even the right to their own lives. Their roles were confined within the four walls of their homes, and they were often treated more as property than as individuals with their own identities. These were the conditions that women had to navigate in the pre-Islamic era, a stark contrast to the society that was soon to emerge. This was a world that was about to undergo a radical transformation, a world on the brink of a monumental shift. This era was about to change with the advent of a new dawn, the dawn of Islam. Enter Islam, a beacon of justice, equality, and rights for all. This new faith brought about a seismic shift in societal norms, radically transforming the landscape of women's rights. In a world where women's rights were often sidelined or ignored, Islam emerged as a champion of justice and equality. It broke the chains of the archaic societal norms and uplifted the status of women. Women were no longer seen as mere possessions, but were acknowledged as individuals with their own rights and freedoms. Islam introduced a set of principles and teachings that redefined women's roles and their status in society. It upheld the notion of equality, asserting that women, like men, were entitled to their own rights, be it in matters of inheritance, education, or marriage. Women were given the right to own property, to conduct business, and to seek knowledge. They were given a voice, a say in societal matters, and a standing in court. Moreover, Islam championed the cause of justice. It instituted a legal system where the rights of women were protected and their dignity preserved. It ensured that women were treated fairly and justly, and their rights were not trampled upon. With the advent of Islam, the tide had turned. Women were not just given their rights, but their roles were also redefined and respected. The advent of Islam did not just change the course of history, it left a lasting legacy. Let's dive into the impact of Islamic history on women's rights. Prior to the advent of Islam, the societal norms were vastly different, often sidelining women's rights. However, with the arrival of Islam, a new era dawned. The rights of women, previously neglected, were now recognized, celebrated, and protected under the rule of law. The Islamic history stands as a testament to this transformation. It showcased a shift from societal norms that were often oppressive to a system that valued justice and equality. The principles of human rights were not only acknowledged, but were strengthened under the governance of Islam. This was a significant stride forward, not only for women but for humankind as a whole. The rule of law, a cornerstone of any thriving civilization, was greatly improved under Islam. Women were not just given rights, they were assured justice. They had the right to own property, to inherit, to choose their spouse, to seek education, and to participate in societal matters. This was revolutionary, especially considering the era it was introduced in. Fast forward to the present day, these principles continue to shape the understanding and implementation of women's rights in Islamic societies. They serve as a guide, a beacon of light, illuminating the path towards justice and equality. They remind us of the inherent dignity and worth of every individual, regardless of gender, and the importance of upholding these rights. In conclusion, the legacy of Islamic history is not only seen in the pages of history books, but it is alive in the principles and values that guide Islamic societies today. It serves as a constant reminder of the strides made, the battles fought, and the victories won for women's rights. Islamic history has not just taught us about women's rights, it has demonstrated the importance of human rights and the rule of law. It's a legacy we continue to learn from.